And so to Moscow, where President Putin has given his reaction at last to the American proposal for a 30-day ceasefire in the Ukraine war. And it was interesting. Putin thanked Donald Trump and said, I'm quoting, that the idea of peace is correct and we support it. But he said there are nuances. He would agree to a ceasefire, what he called an end to military hostilities, but only if it was one that leads to a long-lasting peace and eliminates the root causes of this crisis. Now, that's a much bigger question. It was a bit Vicky Pollard, I suppose. Da, but niet, but niet, but da. It showed that he doesn't want to offend Trump by rejecting his big idea out of hand, but it also reminds us that Putin's demands for the end of the war are still the obliteration of an independent, democratic, lively Ukraine. He wants it to be unprotected by NATO or anybody else. He wants it to have formally surrendered a third of its territory, and he wants it, above all, to be run not by Zelensky, but by a tame, hand-picked, pro-Russian leader. Did Ukraine fight for so long and so bravely for that? I take away from all of this that the big American plan may well have brought a brief armistice, so there are people who would have died on the front line who will not now die, but it hasn't brought us any nearer to an actual peace settlement and perhaps further away from one. Let's talk first to Sergei Markov, a Russian political scientist at Moscow State University and a supporter of President Putin. Mr. Markov, thank you very much indeed for joining me. You listened, I'm sure, to President Putin today. Did you take from that there is a likelihood of a 30-day ceasefire?
No. I think that Putin say the conditions, which will be quite difficult. First of all, the main reason of Putin's conditions is very simple. Russia already signed 2 ceasefires with Ukrainian regime backed by Western countries. Minsk 1 agreement, Minsk 2 agreement. Both of them agreements have been sharply violated by Ukrainian regime with great support of the all Western countries, including your Great Britain. And so Vladimir Putin wants to prevent collapse of ceasefire, this new ceasefire, compared with a previous one. That's why he told, okay, ceasefire, but embargo for weaponry to Ukrainian army and stopping of mass mobilization to Ukrainian army. It's main Putin conditions.
So do you think that there is any possible peace agreement that allows an independent, democratic Ukraine to survive?
Yes, of course. Democratic Ukraine, it's absolutely solution. Look, when Ukraine been democratic, it was 23 years between independence 1991 and 2014, when last democratically elected president of Ukraine had been overthrown by neo-Nazi putsch, organized by American and British intelligence service. Before this, Ukraine was in absolutely safe and peaceful situation. Only neo-Nazi criminal regime create this war. It means the solution for Ukraine is democracy. Absolutely clear.
Sure. Well, Mr. Markov, you know a lot of that is contested here in the West, but I think we can agree that despite some warm words from President Putin and his thanks for President Trump, we aren't any nearer to a peace deal tonight than we were perhaps 2 weeks ago or a month ago.
Absolutely. Now we have conditionally, but stepping forward to the peace.
All right. Mr. Markov, thank you very much indeed for talking to LBC from Moscow tonight.